number 23, and I went back to a book about a person. So never in my life did I think I'd actually find biographies or autobiographies that interesting, and I think it's because I don't like most people. That sounds really horrible, but I'm not actually interested. I'm not actually interested in how they got where they're going, or there's no awe, and a book needs to really grab me to make me want to read it. But Steve Jobs, while I am not the Apple fan my husband is, I do love my Apple products, and I am very intrigued by him and the fact that he is the epitome of stepping up, stepping outside of the comfort zone and creating something totally crazy and totally different. So he's known a lot for being a complete asshole boss. And in this book it talks about that as well. It's named Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. I still have the chapter sticker on it. But it talks about how even though he was so abrupt and he was so abrasive and he demanded so much of his staff, they loved him. And a few years ago as a gift, I took my husband to Apple headquarters, and we went to number 1 Apple Way or whatever it is, and we went to the store and we talked to employees, and we went to the, I think it was last year, we went and saw the new giant like alien ship UFO style building. And it's super cool. It is really, really cool. But everybody talks almost in reverence about Steve Jobs, and they're all in awe of him. And so that made me want to read this book. It is gigantic. Right off the bat, yeah, it's like 4 in 1. So when I picked this one up, I did laugh, because I'm like, oh, that's going to take me more than a few days to read. And yes, it did. But I also found it really, really cool, all the different areas of his life, the roller coaster of his life, how like Elon Musk, like a lot of these guys, he came from pain. He came from this background of pain and abandonment and struggle to overcome to do something outstanding. Same as some of these other guys, and they often get compared to each other, but same as like Elon Musk and some of these other books I've read, he's kind of crazy. Right? There's this like internal drive and motivation and passion in him that nothing can get in the way of. So even his wife, his kids, his family, you know, he talks about like trying, like this desire to have this attachment to them and to spend time with them, but it was really hard because his head was so caught up in his products. So this one I found really interesting. I really, really did. It also made me really sad. The reading the end of about how he died and how that all ended was really, really sad. But one section, page 573, I found really interesting. He was sanguine. He knew that he was not going down in history as the epitome of politeness, and it was better for him, he said, if the book didn't read like an officially sanctioned account. He told me that he would wait maybe a year before reading it. His confidence, or reality distortion field, was so strong that I was elated. For a moment I believed that he would be around in a year and would get the chance to read this book. He seemed so sure that he was going to regain his health and resume being active at Apple that I asked if he thought I should hold off publishing and see what happened. No, he replied. If I do something else amazing, that means you get to write a 2nd volume. He smiled at that thought, then added, or at least a very long epilogue. Sadly, this is a short epilogue. He passed away not long after that, and yeah, it's kind of sad. He did leaps and bounds for technology, unlike anybody else out there right now. And I don't know a person that isn't affected by his stuff, whether it's the Pixar movies that they're watching, or their Apple TV, or an iPhone, right? He kind of changed the world of technology, and I really, really like that. So, is it an interesting book? Yes, if you're really intrigued by someone's life. Wish it had a little bit more personal, but that's just me because I'm not into the techie stuff. If you're looking for a really long book, this is the one. But it's not, you know, like an easy beach read. It's something that has a lot of pain. You see a lot of the inside of him and his brain and how he worked and how he made decisions, but also the respect a lot of people had for him. So check it out if you're interested, and if you've read it, let me know your thoughts on it. My husband's not a reader, and he loved this one. So I can't wait to tell you what I read next. It's an interesting one.